So, in the spirit of bipartisan love in a time of pandemic, looking to the future and to how we kind of re-enter, reignite economic growth, have you been thinking about any long-term ways in which you see the economy changing, in which we could use lessons learned to enhance productivity, or even, a lot of the stoppages have brought the Earth back to life in ways that are
Yeah.
kind of shocking how quickly it happens. And is there a way that we can re-enter the world without, with a smaller footprint, if you will?
It's a great aspiration, Pedro. And, it's sort of like we hope, like the famous Earth picture from outer space, that watching, the sky suddenly clear up in the Himalayas and in Los Angeles and in Beijing be a message to people. I'd love that. But I'm not sure about that. I'd like to focus on a couple narrower, but I think still important things. I think that in terms of changes in behavior, we already talked about seeing signs of this in China. Even if I'm on the relatively optimistic end about the ability of the US and the other rich countries to bounce back, partly because I think the policy response has been good. I do think there's going to be very fundamental changes in consumer behavior. Are people going to save more? Are people going to be less interested in retail? Are they going to be more risk averse? And some of this may not be bad. It's just a question of getting used to it. But some of it will reinforce what Larry Summers and others have called secular stagnation. It'll reinforce a low returns economy, a low wage growth economy if people are more scared. And so those are fundamental trends I worry about.
It's kind of a depression mentality of sorts, right? The people who grew up under depression had certain saving behaviors that they never let go.
And the people in the generation behind you, or two generations behind me, since I'm old, like who came out of the 2008 crisis and then get whacked again, putting off marriage, putting off buying a home for the 2/3 of Americans who do. There could be lasting changes in behavior, some of which are okay, some of which are not. But that in terms, though, more hopefully in the spirit of what you were saying about the environment, but I think more directly, it's the question of a welfare state.
Yeah.
The U.S. is on the fly making up a better unemployment system, a better automatic stabilized system, a better safety net. And here is where I think we can learn from Europe. We should learn from Europe and Australia and Canada and essentially every other rich country that is in the U.S. that jobs should not be this fragile. Connections to jobs should not be this loose. People who we don't have an informal sector quite the way, say, in India does or Nigeria does, but people who are in the low wage, what economists call low attachment to the workforce jobs, minorities, people of so-called low skill, there has to be better provision for them. And the hope I would have is people see that it's not just during a pandemic that it's not these individuals' faults, that they just can't, in the current system, save enough. They can't self-insure. They're not going to become lazy and wasteful if you give them a decent amount of security. And that's where I hope the battle goes in the U.S., that these measures become a permanent change in the U.S.
That's a great point. And I also hope that even on the sort of pipeline issues that we were discussing, the way that these payments are delivered, the connections between people and their government, that they become more solidified in ways that maybe the next time around we don't have to scramble so much.
Absolutely. And it's an efficiency issue. It's a political issue. I mean, there's stuff being learned. You talk about lessons being learned about how the stimulus was dispersed in 09, 10 versus now, and how people perceive the role of government. I agree with you completely.